Okay, let's get to Q's because that's a great transition. Okay, people are going to say, Kelly, it's just NC State. I know NC State's had a tough year. But I was impressed with this win because I think this is one of those games, and especially the UNLV game, that
Yeah.
old Syracuse loses. You start, maybe they don't lose to Stanford early, but then they lose these games. You start well,
Right.
and then you struggle in October, especially on the road. Back-to-back road wins for Syracuse, and they got off to a slow start in Raleigh, but they still were
Mhm.
able to come back and control the game really after the first quarter. Other weapons emerging for Syracuse. I like to see that.
Right.
Jackson Meeks was incredible. 11 catches for 116 yards. Syracuse forced turnovers. The sack fumble that they were able to get NC State on, and just NC State couldn't run it. I mean, you've heard us say that a million times. But I thought this was a good step forward program win for Syracuse.
Right.
This is a game, especially coming off a ranked win, that they go lose in past years.
Right.
I thought this was big for Syracuse in a lot of ways.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And just, it's their first game outside. It's their first game on grass.
Oh, outside.
Crazy. How crazy is that? They've been in a
That is
dome,
crazy.
and then they were in an NFL dome as well out in
Crazy.
Vegas. And it was a little chilly, but those guys are up north. They're fine with it. I'm sure they practice in colder to this point. But yeah, we were just interested. And, on the other kind of side of that, I was interested. And I mean, I've said this, I think, multiple times. Are NC State fans going to show up? The answer
Yeah.
was, yeah, they did. And the students
Shout out.
did too. They're on fall break. They were loud. They caused false starts. They
That's cool.
caused errant timeouts that Syracuse had to take. They were awesome. That environment was sick. And I've said this so many different times, but that was one of the hardest places I had to play. So give those guys their credit. Wolfpack Nation really did their part. Just couldn't finish it on the field. So let's start with Syracuse, though, in the play. Seeing Kyle McCord in person was awesome. I mean, that dude is so good at throwing the football, pushing it downfield, understanding of the offense. Again, and this is a guy that just got there. But it just feels like his. It just feels like it's his world, and everybody's kind of figuring it out. You had a bunch of players, catching the football. I think this was
Yep.
the fourth different receiver for a game that had over 10 catches. I mean, that's just
Wow.
crazy. Like usually there's a go-to guy, not four different guys throughout different games that have multiple or double digit, kind of catches there. So that was fun to see. Getting all your weapons involved differently. Again, like I said, pushing the ball downfield, had completions of 28 yards, 27, 24. Like nothing outrageous, but just really good, catch, step, throw type of things. And per usual, LaQuint Allen is just a dog. I mean, that guy, super fun to watch. High motor, does whatever he's asked, is very versatile in what he can do for you. And those guys are
This
believing.
TD
I mean, they
run.
really are. Yeah.
Another ridiculous TD run from LaQuint Allen where he had no
Yeah.
business getting the ball in, and he
Right.
did. And he doesn't seem, you were there in person, and I could look up his height and weight and everything, but he just doesn't look like Phil Maffa for reference.
No.
But he
He's a little,
runs over guys
yeah.
like Phil Maffa.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
It says he's 6'1". I don't know if that's true. Or excuse me, 6 foot. I don't know if he's 6 foot, 200 pounds, but he runs like it. He runs
Maybe.
super hard. Yeah. He's a beast. He's a beast. It was fun to see. And again, those guys are just believing. Coach Fran Brown has done an unbelievable job.
Yeah, they
Spoke
are.
to him pregame, spoke to him postgame. He's awesome. He really is. And I can see why, some of these recruits, some of these transfers would, no question, want to go there. He's got it laid out. Looking on the NC State side, CJ Bailey balled.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see this stat line, and I don't know, it was weird because it was a little bit sporadic, maybe. Like he was super accurate, he's 71 percent accurate, but I did not think that he had 330 yards passing.
Yeah.
And then when I looked at this, I was like, whoa. Because there was a couple of 70-yard completions. There was two of those guys took it to the house. And he just made really good decisions too. That guy's going to be a superstar. If he continues to just stay here, grow, does his thing, put on a little more weight, he's going to be freaky. I can't wait to see the future and what he's going to be able to turn into.
And he is just a true freshman. You talk about his
Maybe.
decision making.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, he's a baby. He played really well. I thought the pick was a bit costly. And then the sack fumble, which I don't know if that's a decision, obviously you can
All right.
escape, you can step up in the pocket, whatever. So those two turnovers did hurt them for sure. And Kyle McCord did not turn the ball over, which is big for him. But again, like how much of this we're going to put on a true freshman quarterback, right? And
Right.
it just feels like your defense in general for NC State, they've just taken a really big step back. And we knew that. We knew there was going to be some sort of step back.
Right.
But the defense can't help you as much as perhaps we all thought, or at least
No.
as much as NC State's defenses have helped them over the past
Right.
couple of years. So that's a big
And
issue. And they still
yeah,
can't run it, Mac. They still can't
I
run
know.
it. It's brutal.
That's just who they are. We don't even need to really bring that
Yeah,
up. It stinks.
true.
It doesn't make any sense at all why they can't. But they just don't have it. Haven't had it in 5 years. But going back to the defense, they had a bunch of tackles for loss. They had some chaotic plays that they were able to force. But you're right. It just game on the line couldn't stop anybody. Couldn't make it happen. Kyle goes for 350. They hadn't allowed over a 300-yard passer all season. He shatters that. And again, I know they had injuries. Caden Fordham out for the
Right.
year. Brutal. It just stinks. And it feels like, honestly, KG, it just feels like they have everything at NC State. Sounds like the NIL is good. They went out and got a bunch of players. The facilities are awesome. The stadium is great. You've got these fans, and they just can't get over the hump. They just can't win and do it on the field in the big games. I mean, I get some, and I get here and there, and 8 wins, 9 wins, awesome. But the big ones, the important ones, it's just tough, and it's weird. It's kind of strange.
Before we get to our speed round, can I just ask you if NC State's going to make a bowl? They're 3-4.
You want to play a
They
little win game?
have, yeah, one game. So they're at Cal this week.
Nope. Loss.
I think that's probably a loss. So let's say you're 3-5.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Stanford at home.
Win.
Stanford looked terrible. I'm going to say win.
Yeah,
Stanford has to travel out to you. All
Yeah.
right. So you are 4-5. Duke at
Yeah.
home. Let's give it
At
to them.
home, I'll say win.
5-5. Then you're at Georgia Tech, at UNC. If UNC is completely given up by then, maybe. I don't think you win at Georgia Tech, but
No.
it might come
So
down
you're
to
telling me
winning
it's going to come down
UNC.
to at North Carolina to go bowling.
It probably will,
Let's see
because
what North
that's just
Carolina
so
does.
fitting.
Let's see where they'll be. Let's see. They've got
Oh,
3.
I've got
They
questions about
play at
them.
Virginia, loss. At Florida State, loss. Versus Wake, win. At BC, maybe a win. That game literally could decide
Yeah,
which team goes to the postseason. That would be
for sure.
awesome. It would be so
For sure.
lit. I hope
It's
that
very,
happens.
yeah, that's very, very possible.